All right, so I'm in my canvas world, and today I want to tackle building a greenhouse, a giant, transparent greenhouse. And so for this particular greenhouse, I want to do something that's a bit out of my comfort zone and work with glass. So for the most part, greenhouses are transparent so that light can come through and warm the plants inside. So what I'm thinking is we're probably going to use diorite for the frame. The other option could be prismarine, just to give it some color, and it can kind of help separate the glass because I do want to use like white stained glass for this. So I think that this wouldn't, blend too much together from like a distance. So I think this might look better. And then, of course, the other option, the other like green option is using tough. But that is on the darker side and can almost look like a dark gray from a distance. So I think ultimately we'll go with prismarine. What I want to do is sort of like a L-shaped greenhouse. So we'll do, let's say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. So that can be one end of it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we'll go to the other. I did forget that prismarine does this. It actually changes color. So you see that, how it just went from like a blue to now the green, and now it's like super green. So there will be times where this ends up becoming really like a light blue, which is where it's like headed right now. I wish you could have dark prismarine as a wall, because that would probably be like a better option. And so I'm thinking that kind of L shape, and then we can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Left 3 block entrance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ah, you know what? I have an idea. We could technically use these copper rods as a frame. You see, like right now it looks really blue. So I feel like that's probably the biggest hurdle with building with the prismarine, is that it changes color like that. So if you wanted like the green prismarine, it isn't always gonna stay that color. Like right now, this color right here, this is good. Could also just build it straight out of copper bulbs, which could also work. Let's give that a shot. I like the texture of the bulb. Just wondering if there's any other detail we can add to it. I'm thinking of this one specific greenhouse, and it's a relatively small one, but it's basically like this green frame, and in between the frames you insert like plexiglass, like sheets of plexiglass. So I think that's like where the inspiration is coming for this. And then it sort of just has like a triangular roof that also opens at the top, similar to, which build is it that I have? Yeah, like right there, where it's a triangular roof, and then it has like these slots that you can push open. So let's make this guy just a bit taller. And now the roof. So there's obviously no glass stairs, so we'll use blocks. Then if we were to extend this out, gonna look something like this. Now I think there would be a frame here. And just so that it's not like super flat, we can add maybe chains or rods. Just for some like detailing. Maybe this middle piece can stay like this. So we can have the window opening here, which can use chains as if it's like holding it up. I want to create sort of like a border. So like it can kind of stand out a little more. And then I'm liking this idea of the chains. Right, that gives it some nice detailing there. It's nice and subtle. I'm having second thoughts about this. Let's just clone this, get an idea of what it would look like. Let's do the same thing on the other side. Now I'm just gonna try and add some detailing to this. I think the subtle like change in color won't be too noticeable. Yeah, that's not too bad. I still don't know about this light gray stained glass here. Maybe because it matches the floor too much. Let's say we made a moss. It's just too abrupt of a change in like the shade or the color. I feel like I want to add something here. I feel like there's just something that we're missing. Maybe it's this way that we should be doing it to match the roof. I don't know, does a wall ruin this? Maybe a fence. We need like a green wood. I feel like that could solve a lot of the issues I'm facing now. Oh, that's not bad. I do like it. Maybe it just helps like disrupt the glass so that it doesn't look like too clear. You know, almost just like it's a greenhouse that's been just weathered down by the elements, and so it's got like scratch marks, and you know, it's just not like brand new. I think the lightning rod is probably better. I like the little squares that are in between. Or what if we do this? We just do this in the middle. Let's clone this guy. That's not too bad. I kind of like that. Then we can keep the top, just the lightning rods. Gosh, this is going to be such an expensive build. I don't know how I feel about this like open gap here. I feel like I want to put something there. Just to add like a bit of like design to it. And then we can do trapdoor. I don't know, I'm just trying to add some sort of texturing or just like a design, some architecture to it so that it doesn't just look like flat here. Be stairs here. Then we could probably do like a sort of window frame. I think the dark prismarine is too much. Yeah, I think that fits better. And then let's take away this piece for now. Just so that we can see what it looks like without all this noise here. Maybe we need something here. Just to kind of add another layer of detailing. Then we can also maybe add that there. And then I'm thinking something like this on the main frames. So that way when we add this here, it'll make a nice little pattern where we have alternating points. Put a candle in here so that it's still pointy, just a smaller point. All right, that's looking good to me. Honestly, I think I'm gonna leave it just as it is and not add like another attachment. I think decorating the outside would just help with making it look better instead of trying to make it a more complex build. And we could always add to it later. But I am happy with what I have here, and I just want to maybe add some texture to the frame here. So now that it's done, let's bring it into the survival world. Now, would you look at that? Let me just walk you through the experience that I'm trying to make here. So I've got this path here and this bridge. Eventually we'll connect it up to something over there, but the idea is you've got this view here, walking down the path. I made these two trees off camera. There's a specific video that I watched on how to build trees. I'll link it in the description. Hands down, like the clearest, most easy to follow tutorial. I wouldn't say it's a tutorial, more of like a blueprint or a framework to kind of reference when building trees. I don't know, something in that video just kind of clicked. And I mean, these are definitely not professional trees, but they're a lot better than what I could do just from my own head without any sort of guidance. So I really like how those came out, and I put two kind of medium-sized oak trees there to help frame the greenhouse there. Let's talk about the planes here. So a lot of the time, from what I've seen in the real world, there aren't really planes that are just full of grass. Like if you think about that super old Microsoft wallpaper, that's just like the super vibrant green grass. Like I feel like that's not seen often in the real world. A lot of the time it's more mix of like regular grass, tall grass, and then there is like this sort of dried grass. And so I wanted to kind of implement that with more of a focus of the dry grass near the river. Again, similar to how we had the coastline over here, but I just didn't add the texturing of the terrain. I could probably do that later on, but I think by texturing the river, maybe that could help. Then also added a couple of sparsely placed firefly bushes. At night, it looks super cool. So this is what it looks like at night. I mean, just seeing the little fireflies and the particles from those bushes. I mean, it's just so nice. And then the ambiance too, the sounds. I mean, it just makes it feel like you're there, you know. And then, yeah, just a little transition into the regular grass. I've also added little bits of like clover fields, and this comes from B-Dubs. There was a video I think he did last season of Hermitcraft where he showcased using these leaves in place of dirt. And then, you know, at this angle here, it kind of looks like there's like a patch of clovers or just a, you know, type of weed or something. So I thought that was neat to add in little bits and places. And I added rock walls here just to kind of help give direction to where the path is going. And then up here, I've added more flowers as we get closer to the greenhouse. Just, you know, a patch of yellow and white flowers. Got a bigger patch over here. Again, with the azalea leaves and some of the flowering ones. And then just little patches here and there. And then eventually we'll kind of do the same thing all along the hillside here. And then here's the build. I started decorating the inside a bit. So I've got a lot of these pots from trial chambers, and then we're just adding like different beds of flowers on this side here. Hay bale crates. And then over here we have got some like vegetables growing, potatoes, carrots, adding some torch flower and pitcher pods here. And then really happy with this. I added like a tool section here. So by using the armor stand mod, I can align the different tools inside of the tripwire hook, and it looks like it's hooked on and hanging, which I think is really neat because that's what I do in real life with my tools. I have like these little hooks and I just place all of them hanging like that. So this was pretty cool. And then just like a shelf here with pots and flowers, and then adding some lights in there that turn on at night. Yeah, this is the build, and I'm super happy with it. I love the color. I think it feels very naturey. And then the trees. The trees are so good. I'm really happy with how they came out. For someone who's never done trees before, I think for like my first proper attempt at one, this is pretty good. And this is it from like different angles. The thing about like trees is there really isn't like a proper way to do them, right? Like in real life, they're all over the place. They grow in different shapes and sizes and in different angles and everything like that. So I think there's a lot of room for error, and it's very forgiving in that sense. I really like this glass feature in there to kind of help blur it. Let's take a look at it from a distance. I mean, that's pretty cool. So I hope you guys took away some things from this episode. I know making this particular episode, I've learned a lot, like with the trees and then just texturing this area here using the firefly bushes. I definitely feel like I've gotten some things that I can implement in future builds, so pretty excited. I already have the next build planned out, so stay tuned for that. Yeah, see you in the next chapter.